truck, you want to ask the examiner if he can assist you in checking your lights. When you enter the truck, you always want to be facing the truck and have 3 points of contact at all times. Okay? You're going to enter the truck, and the first thing you're going to do is put on your seat belt. At this time, you can go ahead and do this portion of the in-cab inspection. Okay? My seat belt should be properly secured. It should not be ripped, torn, or frayed. It should latch and unlatch properly. Just want to demonstrate that. The seat is properly secured and fully adjustable, so you want to go ahead, adjust it wherever you need it, and lock it in. All right, make sure the truck is in neutral. Okay, the brakes are applied. My first test is going to be my governor cutout test. My cutout occurs when the needle stops rising, not more than 140 psi. Now you're going to hear the release. It's going to go psh, but they're not testing your hearing. They're testing your ability to read the gauge and know when the cutout occurs. If you got 4 trucks parked next to each other and one of their cutouts occur, you don't know if it's yours or the other one's, but you can tell the needle stops rising. To do this test, I need to make sure that my air pressure in my tanks is below 100 psi. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to apply and release the service brake until the air pressure is below 100. That's fine. Now I'm going to perform a safe start. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn the gauges on. That way fuel gets pumped up to the motor. I'm going to wait about 10 seconds. Okay, go ahead and start the truck. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, you don't have to, but you can go ahead and raise your RPMs if you want. Now, in this truck, cutout always occurs right at 120 psi. Sometimes 118, sometimes 122. But you want to make sure once it goes over 100, you're looking at it. You don't want to be looking over here and you hear the cutout occur. They're going to know you weren't watching. So make sure you're looking at it. Like I said, it's right at 120 psi. As soon as you hear the release of the air, of course, and it stops moving, you want to read the PSI. And I'm reading from the primary gauge, which is the top one. Below 100, I know that the compressor's on as soon as I start the truck.
So that's why you lowered it.
Go ahead and I'm going to lower it.
Okay.
And I know
so
now.
Watch it rise.
Yes, it'll start rising.
Okay, I get it.
And like I said, the cutout is when the needle stops rising. That's when you hear that release of air, and that takes away any pressure of air going into the any second now. My cutout occurred at 120 psi. This is a good test because it was not more than 140 psi. My next test is my governor cut-in test. My cut-in occurs when the needle starts rising. It should not be less than 100 psi. And this is when the compressor gets kicked on to maintain certain air pressure in the tanks. So it should always come on before it gets lower than 100 psi. Okay? To do this test, I'm going to apply and release the service brake and wait for my cut-in to occur. If it doesn't occur in 15 seconds, I'll apply it and repeat the process. So I'm just going to hit the brake hard and release it. Okay, right now it's at 112 psi. Now I don't have to tell the inspector that. I'm just noticing. Because however far it goes down, if it starts rising, that's going to be the point of where it started. It's not where you notice it moving, it's from where it started moving. So you wait 15 seconds, above 110 psi, it's not going to start moving. So I hit it again. 105 psi. Pretty sure it's going to start rising in 15 seconds. Okay, my cut-in occurred at 105 psi. So I couldn't tell until it got to 108, but it started at 105. It's a good test because it was not below 100 psi. My next test is going to be my 460 test. This is an applied leakage test. You should not lose more than 4 psi in 1 minute with the service brake applied. And what you're doing is you are isolating, you're releasing those brakes, you're applying the service brake, and you're going to see in 1 minute how much air pressure you lose. That gives you a loss rate for 1 minute. If it's more than 4 psi, you need to have the system checked. So to do this test, I need to make sure that the air pressure in my tanks reaches full capacity. Okay? I'm going to put the truck into low gear. Okay. I'm going to turn the gauge. I'm going to turn the motor off. I'm going to turn the gauges on while releasing the clutch. Now, I'm going to release the parking brake and trailer brake. Okay. As soon as I release those, then I'm going to fully apply the service brake. So release that, all the way, and hold it. Try to put your foot into the bumper. Okay. As soon as the needle stabilizes, you need to read the PSI. Well, isn't that cute? That sucker just jumped down a lot. I've never seen that one happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it went like this. It went bam.
That's too much, I remember.
Right now, it's right about 85, so it's just barely. Okay, my needle stabilized at 85 PSI. My minute starts now. Now, at the end of 1 minute, you have to read the PSI a second time. That way you can compare the first reading with the second reading. You gotta wait 1 minute. Of course, it would help if I would have. Okay. And a minute takes quite a while. Keep your foot all the way on the service brake. Do not let up at all. Now, we still got like about 35 seconds left. As long as it doesn't lose more than 4 PSI in 1 minute. Now, at the end of 1 minute, you must read the PSI a second time. Do not take your foot off the brake until you complete everything on the 460 test. I say that so many times that people get annoyed, but that's all right. They remember. If I got to make you upset to make you remember, so be it. All right, my minute is ended. My needle is at 84 PSI. This is a good test because I did not lose more than 4 PSI in 1 minute. Now I can take my foot off the brake. Okay. My next test is the low air warning. My low air warning occurs between 75 and 55 PSI. It could be a light or a buzzer. I'm going to apply and release the service brake until my low air warning occurs. And you'll hear it go beep. As long as it stays on for 1 second, that's it, even if it goes off. If it only just glitches like beep, that doesn't count. So I'm going to apply and release. There it is there. My low air warning occurred at 75 PSI. Yes, it looks like 76. It's 75. 1 PSI is judgment. So you want to make sure you say 75, not 76. Okay, it's a good test because it was between 75 and 55 PSI. My next test is going to be my 4520 pop-out test. My spring brakes, which is the parking brake and trailer brake, should pop out between 45 and 20 PSI. I'm going to apply and release the service brake until the pop-outs occur. If only one pops out, stop, read the PSI, continue for the second one. Now, the gauge, right? The first line next to 0, that is 10. Okay, and on up. Now, apply and release the service brake until pop-outs occur. Just hit it sharp. Not too fast, but you don't want to go slow either. Just a nice, steady, quick hit on it. Usually 35 PSI, this one's going to pop.
The brake.
Pardon?
The brake. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, there's one.
Okay, my trailer brake popped out at 32 PSI. I'm going to continue for the parking brake.
Okay.
My parking brake popped out at 22 PSI. Good test because it was between 45 and 20 PSI. Now, I'm going to be testing my parking brake, trailer brake, service brake. To do these tests, I need to build the air pressure in the tanks to maximum capacity. So I'm going to put the truck into neutral. I'm going to go ahead and perform a safe start. And while I'm waiting for the air pressure to build, I'm going to go ahead and finish my in-cab inspection. Okay, I already did the seatbelt and seat. I have the mirrors properly secured, fully adjustable for the driver. The window raises and lowers properly. The door opens and closes properly. Air horn for the country or highway. Windshield not broken, one piece, properly secured. Seal is in one piece. Always clean, no illegal stickers. The wipers are in good working condition. The blade is in good condition. Proper tension to the glass to clean the windshield. The washer is working properly to apply fluid to the windshield. My switches. I have my exterior light switch, my wiper switch, washer switch, ignition switch, all switches working properly. I have my gauges, oil pressure gauge, normally reading 30 to 70 PSI. Water temperature gauge, normally reading 175 to 195 degrees. And my voltage gauge, normally reading 12 to 15 volts. I have my tachometer, RPMs, revolutions per minute. I have my speedometer, miles per hour, my odometer, miles traveled, my fuel gauge. I should have enough fuel to reach my destination, and my primary and secondary air pressure gauges, all gauges working properly. I have my spring brakes, that's a parking brake and trailer brake. I have my air conditioner, heater, and windshield defroster. You want to demonstrate? Working properly. My steering wheel, no more than 2 inches of free play. My electric horn for the city. My turn signal switch, high and low beams, and emergency flashers. You pull the flashers out, cancel it by just turning the turn signal switch. Okay? I have my trailer handbrake. I have my my clutch, between 1 to 2 inches of free play. My service brake is properly adjusted, and my accelerator is not sticking or binding. My shifter is in one piece, good working condition. The boot, no holes, no rips, no tears, properly secured to prevent any fumes from entering the cab. I have my emergency road kit. I have 3 triangle reflectors in good condition, a box of spare fuses, and the fire extinguisher properly secured, fully charged, with the safety pin attached. Okay, that's it for my end cap. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to complete, perfect timing, I'm going to complete my test, my parking brake, trailer brake, and service brake. Put the truck into low gear. I'm going to test the parking brake. I'm going to release the trailer brake. I'm going to slowly release the clutch. The truck should not drive forward. You notice I'm keeping my right foot away from the brake or the accelerator. Okay, just slowly release it. You feel the truck vibrate. That's a good test.
Feel the tug.
Feel it? There you go. There. Good test. Now I'm going to be testing the trailer brake. You must apply the trailer brake. Release the parking brake. Slowly release the clutch. The truck should not drive forward. You'll feel a tug. That's it. Good test. The truck did not drive forward. My last test is going to be my service brake test. I'm going to go ahead and pull forward 5 miles an hour. I'm going to apply the service brake. The truck should not pull to the left or the right. So to do this test, you're going to have your hands on the steering wheel, take them off slightly. Release your spring brakes. Go ahead and release the clutch, start moving forward. Get the brake. Good test. The truck did not pull to the left or the right. This concludes my air brake test and in-cab inspection. I will shift to neutral. I will apply the brakes and turn off the motor, and that's it.
Quick question. When you do the pull-up on the service brake test, are you not supposed to have your hands on the steering wheel?
Right. The reason you don't have them
because you want to see if it tugs.
Right.
Okay.
But you just got to keep them close. Other than that, you always have to have your hands on the